Jason Fox, pleasure to have you on Whole Truth Podcast. You are really quite a remarkable human being. I obviously don't have to agree with that. It may be a bit weird if you did.
I tend to not disagree. There's a few exes out there that disagree with it as well, probably. But there we go.
Oh, okay. Well, you have travelled through the realms of the human experience in a way that not many people, I suppose, would ever need to or want to, or you've done it actually for the sake of others. So, I mean, I'm being very cryptic. We're going to get into more specific ideas of what you've done. Look, you were in the I need to get this right. How would you say it? The SAS, the army?
Yeah, I was in the military. Yeah, so
military.
I joined the Marines.
20 years. Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I mean, yeah, I grew up in a place called Luton, which is
got a wicked airport.
Mate, do you think so?
No.
Mate, it's the worst airport. Do you know what? I they're gonna hate me for this. I hate Luton Airport. I hate it. I've never had a good experience there.
And they've been refurbishing it constantly, and nothing's changed.
I know, yeah, and you're still queuing up, and you got to buy another ticket from the train station.
The bus.
Yeah, the
Tell
bus.
me about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about it.
So anyway, I grew up in Luton.
Yeah,
I grew up in Luton. I didn't do well at school. In fact, that's an understatement. I did terribly at school.
Right.
I was sort of could see that I was getting into trouble. I don't know how I noticed it as a 16-year-old, but subconsciously I knew I needed to do something. So the military it was, and I just, I was an outdoorsy person. There was a few other influences, but I decided to join the Marines.
I mean, you joined the army young.
Yeah.
But would you say you were conscious of mental health? Like, or how it would affect you?
Nah, I wasn't. And actually, if I'm honest with you, I was a massive non-believer in mental health, in soldiers, I suppose.
As an issue?
Yeah, because I'd heard about it, and I was like, well, I've been involved in like an awful lot of stuff, and I'm all right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, is it a get out of jail free card? Is it just,
right. So were there actually people who were?
I'd heard about it, yeah, not first hand,
right?
But I'd heard about the aftermath of certain things going on, and it's not that I debunked it. I was a bit like, I'm not sure about this. And then obviously, fast forward a couple of years or so, and I'm eating a fucking huge slice of humble pie.
Yeah.
But it's not like I was jumping under tables. It wasn't like the Hollywood sort of PTSD that in the way it manifests.
Sure. Yeah.
I just felt fucking down, and I wasn't enjoying my job, and I was like, and I was getting ready to go away again, which is
so it was literally after. So it's actually 20 years after you started the army was probably when you first realised that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, about 18, 19 years.
Wow. But you've spoken out about how the army has affected you.
Yeah,
and you actually have a charity called Rocks.
Rock, yeah. So we got an organisation called Rock to Recovery.
That's it. So.
And it was basically me and a friend of mine who we co-founded it. We're still involved. He's very much operational. He's a guy called Jamie Sanderson. He's a ledge, and we sort of both left the military for the same reason. We had to leave because we were diagnosed with PTSD. And
PTSD is something I hear about a lot in regards to the army.
It's a weird brand.
So for those of you who don't know, that stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, can you just go?
It's like a brand, but as far as I'm concerned, there's two types. In my opinion, there's two types. You've got complex and you've got single point. Single point is, for instance, if you were in a horrific car crash or something really, you witness something that's not good.
Yeah.
You obviously have a single point that's a trigger, and obviously it affects you. Whereas complex, for me, is anyone can suffer from it, and it's a natural reaction to life, really. But as an example, I'm a soldier. I spent years training to be a soldier, waiting to do stuff that was pretty mental. Then when it happens, you're like, well, you've conditioned yourself. Subconsciously, your mind has been like, well, I'm getting ready to do something or be involved in something that is abnormal. It happens and you're not really fazed by it. But then over a period of time and with life experience as well, getting married, getting divorced, having children, kids are sick, can't pay bills, car crash.
Well, I've heard, some people call that perpetual stress disorder.
Yeah, it's this, that's what I mean. Everyone's got a different brand for each one, but essentially it's just all it is a normal reaction to
being under
life.
a lot of pressure. Yeah. But surely though, along the way there would have been also what was the first type you called it? To have a singular.
Singular point.
I mean, man, you were out there, you know.
There is. It wasn't really the sort of me going. It never manifested itself in like a Hollywood way.
But there wasn't ever one experience or one or two.
You know, there's ones closer to the end of my career that I'll remember.
Right.
And when I left, I went through a period of reflecting negatively, like, oh God, that was horrendous. And you know,
right.
What about those? You know, what about other people that were affected by what has happened, and did I make the right decisions? All this sort of thing. It's basically dwelling on the past, which is essentially a mad thing to do because you ain't changing it.
That sounds really healthy, because I do believe that to recount events in your life can be beneficial.
Yeah.
Because there is also maybe an ignorance to being like, or not ignorance sounds more insulting. I mean avoidance for good reason. Like there'll be some things in my life I just don't want to think about.
Yeah.
And I've actually ended up suppressing. Whereas to let it.
I think you're right. Like avoidance as opposed to acceptance.
Yeah.
And you know, accepting and using it as you look at sports personalities, whatever, they continually what they call fail, but they're not really failing. They're just finding out what they need to do to succeed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and how to pick themselves up.
I might be wrong here. I'm picking up an energy that you're almost a bit perturbed by the label of PTSD.
I am a little bit. I don't. You know, there are people that need to have labels, and sometimes, you know, and it, for the right reasons. But for me, it was just. I went through a phase in my life where I probably looked back at things in a negative way, and I was like a cup of water. It doesn't matter how big it was, that had been getting filled up. So say that water was stress, and then it just overflowed. I just needed a release, needed some time out, and needed a break, and also be guided in a way that I learned myself how to manage it. Being honest with yourself.
I think that's like almost entirely.
Yeah, it is entirely about if you're acting or feeling in a certain way, you've got to sit down and look at yourself in the mirror in a deep way. As much as that sounds like it's a nose, unless you want to sort of fix it or get around it or whatever it is you need to do, you got to be like that. Actually, do you know what? Because I thought I was being honest with myself for a long time, and I wasn't. I was just pretending to be. I was like, yeah, I've got something going on, but you know,
totally.
And then in the end, I was like, hang on a minute.
Well, it manifests, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Was there any particular moment? Only if you want to share it, where you were like, oh.
Yeah, I'd say I was sort of like, I obviously knew that I had stuff going on, and I was like, yeah. You know, I was going to see people, but I wasn't really being honest in with regard to how I was feeling and what it was that was going on. I wasn't being honest. I didn't know, probably.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I was failing at a lot of stuff. I'd lost my job that I loved. Relationships are going down the pan. So there's a loss of identity, a loss of sense of belonging. And then, I found myself stood on top of a cliff, thinking like, right, okay, well, if I'm not doing well at stuff, maybe my purpose is done. I should... whether that was me being serious about it, I think it was whether I was going to do it or not. It was something I needed to do to suddenly be like, hang on a minute.
I found that, like, because of the nature of depression and anxiety and all of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can find yourself in that place. Or sometimes I found myself in that place, and I had like almost put blinkers on. It was there's this apathy where it's like no one cares about me. You know, like nothing's going right. I'm not meant to be here.
Yeah.
But actually, if I'd really, like I said, been honest with myself or been honest with people around me, then I start to. Having to believe that you are important to someone else is a really difficult thing.
Yeah.
But it's almost always true.
Definitely, yeah. You know, I feel like it every now and again. I fucking probably had it last week, and it's about me going, right, I'm feeling like this, and acknowledging it and being like, right, there's obviously a reason, and then normally I'll just phone in a good mate and be like, I'm feeling fucking
for real,
I'm feeling pretty shit at the moment. I don't know why.
I've read this book called Letting Go by this professor.
Heard of it.
But he does this thing or maybe I'm assuming he does this thing, but I'm sure he spoke about it, and now I do it, which is that whenever he feels, no, he does do this. Whenever he feels a bit down, he will actively do the opposite to someone else. So he'll be like hit someone up and go, "Hey, think you're great. How are you?"
He'll do that
to someone else when he's feeling rubbish. Sometimes I feel as though trauma actually isn't that subjective in its truest sense, as in some things will shock everyone to a degree, but I worry that because of the nature of situations that men end up in, there is, like, when I talk to some of my friends who have grown up in particularly violent estates, it almost feels as though you desensitize yourself to it, or it becomes a new normal.
It's a coping mechanism for humans. So you'll see something and you're like that, and then you're like, I need to get on with whatever it is I'm doing. Life, I can't respond to that. You can't go into a flat spin about that because I've got to carry on doing other things. So you normalise it. You normalise it. It doesn't, and sometimes it won't come back or at all, but other times you might be in a position where you're like negatively responding to things because of what had happened in the past. Now I know I can go into situations where I'm going to be seeing some horrific stuff or being in some quite hairy things, and like last year shot a documentary and turned up to a scene and there was a bloke chopped up into pieces, and it was a case of, I'd sort of prepared. I think a lot of it was to do with, fortunately, being in situations, war situations where stuff's pretty horrific, that I was able to be like, right, okay, it's an acceptance of something might happen, and then when it does happen you're sort of all right with it, and then it's about being an observer means there's not an awful lot you can do about it.
Sure. You've touched a little bit on relationships. To talk to someone like yourself about a concept like heartbreak.
I've experienced heartbreak on a super level, I suppose. I think the breakdown of my first marriage I was pretty devastated about that. That cut me up. It probably not, and I would suggest it was my fault. Sure. I was involved in a job that pretty much sucks up your entire life and time. And I actually, we got married, we had a kid. My kid was not very well, and I saw it selfishly as an embuggerance, as something that was, hindering my ability to continue in my career a little bit. Right. I was having to take time off from work, spend time with those people, and I think, I've dealt with it in a bad way, but the thing about going away war fighting is, yes, people see it as this uber stressful situation that's horrific, but it's a release. It's a way of getting away from the proper noise of proper life, because it is so cut and dry out there. Yes, there's stressful things going on, but it's obvious what the score is. You've got someone trying to kill you and vice versa,
right?
And that's all you've got to worry about. Don't worry about bills. It's like an escape. And then actually you come back and you can't differentiate between certain things, and you don't know how to act because you don't know whether you might cause an argument. What if I say this? What if I don't say that? I've got bills to pay. The car's broken down. Oh my God! I want to get out there because. Wow. Do you know what I mean?
There's a couple of questions I always ask on a podcast, which are a little bit lighthearted. Well, depending on how you answer them. But we're going to do this. So, straight up, what's your favourite colour?
Black.
Really?
Yeah.
That is depressing. That is officially the most depressing answer.
It's not, is it?
I'm kidding. I just thought it would be funny for me to say that.
It's a slimming colour.
Firstly,
you know what I mean?
If we're going to get pedantic about it, black's technically a shade. It's actually the absence of light.
Is it? When I was at school, it's a colour.
Yeah, okay, black. All right, I get that. So that is your colour of choice. Fair enough. What's your favourite shape?
Mountains.
Oh.
I'm fascinated by them, and I'm fascinated by their shapes that they create. I've just come back from South America.
So a pyramid, I think, would be the official mathematical term.
Okay, pyramid. But I prefer a more haphazard pyramid.
Oh, you want the ruggedness?
Yeah, I like the ruggedness. Yeah,
you need to have terrain.
I like terrain. Yeah. I like the way it's just. When you look at a mountain, and I know I'm going on to an object now, not a shape. But,
no, it's a shape.
But when you look at them sometimes, especially where I've just come back from, they're alive.
Yeah.
They like bleed rocks, and the energy. There's energy coming from them.
Okay, I love that. What would be your best period, you'd say, of mental well-being?
I'd say now.
Yeah.
I think I could say when I was younger, but I was probably a little naive to stuff. I'm probably still naive to a lot of stuff, but now I'm still learning about myself, and I think I've built up a management system in myself about coping with things and how to manage. If I wake up one morning, I'm like, why am I feeling down?
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, and so I'm not. Don't get me wrong, I'm not naive to the fact that things could come around and bite me in the arse, but hopefully I'll
But that is
roll
it
with
though.
it.
But that's it though. Is to feel as though you're equipped for that. The way I look at it is it's just like strengthening your toolkit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you also know, I know how I might react to certain things, and I know that I'm probably, I think I've got seasonal anxiety disorder.
Mate,
do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Mate, I've got that for
100%.
Sure.
If I see a spot of blue sky, I'm like, yes.
Yeah. No, for real.
So yeah, it's things like that. Yeah, it is.
Mate, I'm totally with you on that. I've had to succumb recently to how much I've enjoyed routine, and that's been a real pain for me because I built up my defense to the world as being someone who can organize chaos. Like, I love chaos, and I'm like,
I'm the same.
Yeah,
mate.
so
I'm always off chaos, but then I don't really like it either because
because it's stressful.
Yeah.
I know, but it's because you're like so used. It's almost like you build a relationship with a state of anxiety. So it's like I can do that. And then recently I've got this dog called Spike, who I love, and I've had this newfound amazingness, which is that if I feel stressed at night or even in the morning, I go, well, I know that tomorrow morning I'm going to get up, I'm walking Spike, I'm getting breakfast, I'm reading my book, and I'm back. And then it can be whatever. Yeah. But it grounded me. And I'm like, and I've had to give in. I've been like, oh, it works.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I think I was pretty much similar to you. My family, my mum and dad, they're not together now, but they split up after me and my brothers left home. Right. But it was we there was no routine. It was mad. We were all just over this. But I'm quite happy that was the case because
you're more adaptable.
I wasn't governed by routine, and I think sometimes if you're governed by routine and then that routine falls foul, sometimes you'll see people just go like, poof, and you're like,
yeah, of course. You got to find a balance. That's it. That's the thing of it all, and that's what I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to go the other way.
Yeah.
We've just done a gig called Music for Mental Health. Are there any specific artists, songs, albums that have meant something special to you, have got you through a period of your life? Or
I would suggest I've got the most diverse taste in music anyone
in the whole world ever.
I reckon
that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
But I've listened to I think I attribute it a little bit to the military, so I've been influenced by older people in the military, so I'll listen to a bit of rock, but I'm a I'm like huge house music fan.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like a bit of beefer, do you?
Yeah, that I sort of grew up when I was growing up in Luton. I was, it was a time of the raves and all that sort of.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
did you listen to it when you were?
Yeah. Used to go to them. Yeah. I do like a lot of cheese. Kylie Minogue.
That's not cheesy.
I love it.
La la la.
It's good.
La.
Even the early stuff.
I don't know any early stuff.
I should be so lucky. Surely you do.
I should be so lucky.
Yeah,
that's Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Bit of classical. I honestly,
who's your favourite classical composer?
Mate, I don't even know what they are. I just listen. I know pieces of music. I know pieces of music, and I'm like, that's really good,
mate.
Back.
That's exactly what I am. Yeah.
Don't even know them.
Bark. I like Bark, mate.
I was a big fan of Rizzle Kicks.
Yes,
mate. I used to, so much so that my missus at the time bought me a T-shirt with "I love Rizzle Kicks" on it.
Don't lie.
True story. People used to. They were like, I never saw that coming. You're like this ex. I'm like that. They're good.
Listen, Rizzle Kicks is big in the ex-military scene.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea, but I think if you did want to listen to a song to maybe soothe yourself post-war, I'm pretty sure Mum would do the hum.
Yeah, mate, it's fucking brilliant. Some moves. You've got some moves, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It actually means a lot. But was there ever a situation that is now only bound by this memory of a specific song? Was "I Could Be So Lucky" echoing through your teenage years?
It didn't. No. Do you know where that I'll tell you where that song echoes. And I wrote a book, and it's documented in there. There was a moment when I'm sat on the back of a helicopter, flying through the night on some going into some crazy night mission. I've got my iPod in,
With
the old iPod Shuffle.
Yeah.
It's just on a fucking, it's
on loop.
Yeah, playing lots of. I
miss
could be
those.
listening to. Yeah, they were good.
So
the little
simple,
square ones.
so
yeah,
simple.
yeah. Good for doing training because
It's tiny.
Yeah, but I'd just taken it off, and as I'd taken it off, I'd been listening to Kylie. And
I
it
Should Be So
was
Lucky.
I Should Be So Lucky, yeah.
Whilst you were
and then
in the military.
literally, as I take it off, the sky erupted and there's gunfire flying through the sky, and it was all in this green haze that you see in the night vision, and that's all I can remember in
That's
my head.
incredibly contrasting.
Yeah, I Should Be So Lucky, and I got out there.
Wow.
But, yeah, it was I don't know why I remember it, but it was obviously because it was the last thing that I was listening to before I put it away. But also on that playlist, there would be NWA, there would be Coldplay, there would be Slipknot. It was pretty all over the place.
I feel like Slipknot would be more fitting for a war scenario.
Yeah, probably a bit of all that, whatever it is.
It's weird that to think that some songs can be more fitting for war. Is there anything that you do to look after your mental health?
Right, there is. I have like this thing, and I've had to say it to myself over and over and over and over again for it to now sort of become second nature. Don't worry about something that hasn't happened, which is what anxiety is. It doesn't quite make sense if you word it like that.
You're
worrying about something that hasn't happened, and then when it does happen, it's too late to worry about it. You've got to deal with it, and that's like enticing chaos. You like to deal with the chaos.
Yeah.
But whilst you're in that state of not worrying about the future, once something's happened, it's sort of the past. You just got to deal with your emotions. Allow yourself to be more childlike, and that doesn't mean forget diary dates and shit like that. But it means, as an example, if I wanted to walk out the door, it would take me about 3 seconds to walk to the door and off I'll go. If I told a kid of 18 months old to go from here and walk out the door, it'd take about 45 minutes because it's so interested in everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
That it does other things, and it might fall over and hurt itself and cry, but then in about 30 seconds it doesn't care what happened then. It doesn't care what's going to happen in the future because all it does is live in the now.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not so much an actual thing, it's more a mindset thing of that.
Okay, so if you had a whole hour, which is another thing we do with the IAMWHOLE campaign, is encourage people for at least an hour a day to separate themselves, I'd say, from the testing conformity of our current life being phones, social media, blah, 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 work. What would you do with your whole hour?
My whole hour?
If you had an hour.
I regularly try to do this. I don't know whether this counts, whether it's acceptable, but I like to train. That definitely
counts.
Train's probably, that's my meditation. It doesn't always work out that I don't check the phone because there might be some things going on that I need to check it for, which is just being a grown up, but which is annoying. But normally
How long do you train for?
I try to get a good hour and a half in, and then I make a point of getting out and about into the country and just
countryside, nature.
Yeah, I love the city. Don't get me wrong. I would never want to move away from this.
Nature is essential.
Yeah,
seriously.
There's something to be said for mountains.
No, seriously.
In fact, Rock to Recovery talks about this.
Really?
Mountains, music, and water.
It would have been great if the last one was another M, wouldn't it?
I know, yeah.
If you could think, is another word for water that is begins with an M?
Moisture.
Nice.
Thank you. Some people don't like that word though.
Love it. I love it.
Moist.
I love moisture. Yeah, music, mountains, and moist. I love
Depends
it.
What mood
Team
you're
moist.
Someone said to me the other day about you need to keep your shed in order, and I was like,
well, literally, do you have a shed?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it would need keeping in order if I did have one.
Definitely, same.
But I think it was sleep.
Mate, sleep is a big one. Like, there's a scale, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a scale that measures depression, or like a level of depression. And antidepressants can improve the scale in whatever way by 1.5 or something, but sleep is on like 8. So anyway, I don't know the finite details, but what he's saying is something along the lines of sleep is 7 times more effective, I'd say, or 6 times more effective. I think that in this current world we live in, we underestimate how much of a mental impact technology has on us.
Massive.
What I find is when I don't have my phone on me, like sometimes I'll go and walk the dog without my phone, right? And I'll just have
it's less stressful.
And I have a book, and there'll be times where I'm sitting down in a cafe, I'm reading this book or whatever, and I'm just thinking like, this is almost the truest form of peace, like, because I don't even have the option of caring about something else right now.
That is an option
of caring about, and you look on it and there's loads of shit to care about. I would like to think I'm a caring person, but we do kind of have way too much access to like continuous trauma
Yeah.
and continuous fun. Like, I feel it in my head. I go, oh, if I look at my phone, maybe I'll get a text or email.
Yeah. Validation, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, Jason, absolute pleasure, mate. Like,
No,
genuinely,
mate, thanks
great
very much,
conversation.
mate. Yeah,
and
cheers. Thanks
you're
for
a wonderful
letting us
person.
come in.
And, mate, no, thank you for being part of Whole Truth Podcast.
No, it's a big thing.
BAP. Don't know what that means. I don't know why I said that. Should we do a different one? Let's do a different exit. Jason, thank you very much for Whole Truth Podcast. Appreciate it. Your honesty, openness is important to us. Peace out.
Thank you.